All right, I'm going to hit the booth and let you guys get down to it. Good luck. Have a good race. All right, Twindy, you're going to want to mute your mic, maybe. We're on the air, yeah. All right, yeah. Do me a favor. Go in there and tell Hughes what's going on. Would you? Can you see what he's posting on the free agent list? He's confused. He doesn't know what's going on. He's late, too late for the GrandAm. He'll be allowed to qualify for the Camel GT. All right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. All righty. Well, guys, a little late on our start going here, but we're going to get it going. The SCL Season 25 preseason continuing here at Indianapolis. We've got the schedule announced. Next week, the Bathurst 500 will kick off Season 25, but tonight, Camel GT, and first up, the Sports Car Support Series in SCL. It'll be the SCL GrandAm Touring Series special here at Indianapolis, a 30-minute exhibition race between two classes of cars, the LMP3s and the touring car division. This is our sports car support series. Most of the guys in this room are rookies in the field or less experienced. All right, as you can see, we've got light rain. All right, this is Alright, back on the track. Looks like they're going to be rolling around here getting ready for the start of the GrandAm Touring Series race. I'm Carlin Hicks in the SCL Racing Network booth with you as we've got Rita St. James on the pole. Directly behind her, Warren Kyle Keith, and third is Rob Disco. Fourth, Aaron CW. Fifth is One Shoe. Sixth is Muttley. Seventh, Progar. Eighth, Rockabilly. On the pole and touring car is Phil Dowd. Evil OGR, CM Outcast, Flat Out, Maverick, Grandpa Bubby, and TS24 Fan. It is mostly rookies, a few veterans here in the field as they're waiting up for the field. All right, coming down to the start-finish line in the GrandAm Series. They're coming to the line. Rita St. James, Warren Kyle Keith leading them, and we are green, green, green. Turn one's going to be the big funnel here in both classes. We'll see how that works out for them. Ooh. All right, so Rita holding off the lead here on Warren. Take a look back here at the touring car leader early on. Phil Dowd holding off Grandpa Bubby and Evil OGR. This car is going to remain very close here in this light rain. We've had this weather most of the week here in Indianapolis during the preseason testing and exhibition schedule. Not the least bit surprised by that. Meanwhile, we're going to get on the chase up close as Warren looks to put the move here on Rita, his own teammate. And he is not going to have the braking zone there to make it work. The cars are obviously very slick in the wet, and that's a very tough braking zone. As we take a look at where they're at, what they're seeing, Progar in third. Aaron CW's in fourth, not far behind him. There's Muttley right on his tail. As we said in last night's race, Muttley is a much better racer in the rain. He's a very solid rain driver, and if he can keep it straight and on the track, he's going to look good, as it looks like Aaron might have a little lagging going on there. There's Rob Disco in sixth, the rookie. And then in seventh is One Shoe. Then it's back to the touring cars where you can see how close these front three are, front four from each other, as we'll go back to our cinematic cam. As we got the battle up front, nose to tail for the overall lead. Rita leading her teammate WKK here in the early goings at Indianapolis. This race, of course, followed by tonight's Camel GT preseason special. That'll be a 60-minute sprint race. Rita gives Warren room coming through there, but he just cannot get the grip on the inside. We'll follow them down to turn one underneath the flag stand there. Rita holding on, a hell of a battle, but let's get back to the front of touring car where Grandpa Bubby and Phil Dowd, another couple of relative rookies, Phil Dowd and Grandpa making limited appearances last season in their first season of competition. They are right on top of each other. You can see Flat Out and Evil in the background. It looks like we've lost a car, and that appears to be Rockabilly Outlaw, who has left the race. Not sure if it's a blown motor or a blown fuse, but 22 minutes to go, just 8 minutes in, and he is out on just lap 4 here at Indianapolis. Let's see what we got here on our chase with a longtime SCL veteran. That's One Shoe, following a relative newcomer, Rob Disco, who raced last night, struggled in the on the road course here in the wet, but in the Lotus race on the Speedway finished in 4th. So he had a solid run there. We're watching the battle for 6th overall and in LMP3 as One Shoe's trying to catch up on him. These guys about 30, little less than 30 seconds off the leaders. One Shoe looking for a spot, being patient, very smart. One Shoe, of course, I believe he'll be starting his 11th or 12th season. Never won a Camel GT race, but he's been a steadily improving driver over the many seasons in the league, and he's going to try to see if he can find a place to go, but it's just trying to find a braking zone. Meanwhile, we head back up front, and obviously WKK making the pass on his teammate Rita. He now holds a 1.3 second lead, as you can see here in the early going. Warren, a sports car specialist. I think Rita probably conceded the spot when she didn't hold a corner to her teammate there, and holding on. Warren, of course, a Camel GT champion, but here in GrandAm, they're the veterans of the field. Take a look at our 3rd place driver. There's Progar, entering his 3rd SCL season. Steadily improving driver. You guys have heard him here in the network work the booth. I believe he was in the booth for the 4 Hours of Le Mans at the end of last season. And he's running about 3.5, 4 seconds behind Rita and maintaining about a 5-second gap on this battle, where the rookie driver Aaron CW, newly formed team AMG Motorsport. He is the owner of that team. Will be making their debut as well as his own this season, and he's running 4th overall right now. Working it through the wet, as you can see on his last lap is what that number is, 1:27.7. Then there's Muttley, as I said, driving for Renaissance Racing this season. Much better overall performance, especially in the wet here, and he has looked better throughout the preseason. So we look for bigger things from Muttley, and there's the battle with Rob and One Shoe right on top of each other. Meanwhile, back to touring cars. Grandpa Bubby, a few seasons under his belt, never a full-time driver, but he has had his moments in his infrequent starts. He'll be holding off there. He's holding 1st overall in touring car. That's 8th overall on the track, with about 4 seconds there on Phil Doubt, the Aussie driver, I believe, who another part-timer last season, looking to make a full rookie run here in season 25. And he's not far back in these conditions. It does not take much of a mistake, as most of these guys are out in the BMWs, from what I understand. Yes, the BMWs. 3rd in the touring car, also in a BMW, Flat Out, also running with Renaissance Racing. He's going to be a rookie here in season 25 and one of the definite Rookie of the Year contenders in any one of the series he runs. He's shown some real speed. He's being trailed very closely by Maverick, another Aussie driver. They are right on top of each other coming through the technicals in the back section of the course. And you have Evil OGR Gordon running right there. He appears to be in a Mercedes. CM Outcast directly behind him as they have the prototypes coming up through them now. And TS24 fan, I'm going to bet he is on no type of stability. He's struggling with the car. Didn't take the advice to heart that he should use some kind of traction control here in the wet, and has fallen at least a lap off the pace to his own class at this point. Meanwhile, we'll get cycled back out front with your overall P3 leader, WKK. Let's get a cockpit view as he's taking us down into turn 1. Fighting through the wet here, driving the LMP3 prototype. Warren, of course, the former Camel GT champion in the main series. We'll be running that race, as we said, tonight after these festivities, and we're looking like there's just going to be more weather here in the Indianapolis area for the rest of our events as he's coming through traffic here down at the end of the backstrip. That's a very key part of the track right there. There gets a lot of puddling, not a lot of grip even in dry conditions, and now you just really got to wait it out as he goes inside of the touring car. Makes his way here into where the track changes from the old layout that SCL's run on for a long time. Turns it down to the inside. Back out towards the left. Goes inside of the touring car, and that completes a lap here from the prototype's perspective. Find some close battles on the track here. We definitely has separated up a bit. Grandpa Bubby's opened up 6 seconds on Phil Dowd in the touring car lead here with 16 minutes to go. Just a sprint race, but in these conditions, is one mistake can pull you right back on it. As there's Grandpa Bubby's run for through. Ooh, gets nailed in the back by somebody in a blue touring car. Might have been Aaron. Don't know if it was Rita, but got into our touring car leader. A little uncareful on the driving there, but Grandpa pulling it back in. He's still 3.5 seconds out in front. As that might have been Rita, as Aaron is actually right there on the track, trying to run down Progar, who's running in third. While we wait for close battles to develop, let's give you another track walk here in a moment as we're following along once again with our touring car leader, Grandpa Bubby, just running about 3.5 seconds ahead of Phil Dowd in the class. And as he comes around, we'll give another cockpit track walk inside the BMW with the independent driver, Grandpa Bubby, as he comes off of the final turn onto the famous front stretch in the wrong direction, trying to find the gear, getting it shifted. Gets passed by a prototype of the LMP3 class and gets down off the brakes. Rides 2 wheels over perfectly good, waiting to get on the throttle till you can feel the bite there as you work your way around the carousel through the S's onto the drag strip. And this is where you want to get as wide as you can to the right. 2 wheels over, 2 wheels over. Slide it all the way out if you can. You want a little wide, but that's okay there. And gun it down the drag strip. Comes down to the end here. Hard on the brakes. Wait for the traction here so you don't slide the wheels out from you, as the puddles are just starting to form in this light rain. Little burp of the throttle. You got to feed it all the way out to the grass. Same thing here. Get the apex. It's hard on the brakes right here on the hard right-hander, and you got to set this up quickly to get back to the left, because this is almost an off-camber corner, which is similar to what this is, coming back onto the front stretch and completing a lap in touring car. All right, let's find some chase cam battles. There's Progar running in third, and he can see Rita St. James, the second place driver, in front of him. Progar still running as an independent. Have not heard whether or not he's been signed by a team, but I know he's definitely a hot name on the SCL free agent market, trying to run down the two JME Motorsports drivers in front of him. JME sweeping last night at the Indy Legends preseason special. All three events. Two of them won by the guy up front right now, Warren Kyle Keith, WKK. Meanwhile, touring car does have a relatively close battle for the lead. We're on board with Phil Doubt, the Aussie driver, guy who's made, I believe, 1 or 2 starts in Camel GT, but not very experienced in the SCL. But here in the support classes, he's putting on what these series are for, really. He's putting on a good show. He's coming in within about 2 seconds of Grandpa Bubby in touring car, and he's got a little less than 12 minutes to do something with it. As he can see a class win right in front of him, but you're going to have to be very patient here in these conditions. As you saw, you can't really outbrake people without knocking them off the track. He almost has to just steadily reel them in and hope Grandpa makes a mistake. They're coming up on a lapped car. I believe that's TS24 fan who's been struggling here in the wet. He's a fast driver, quick driver, so I'm thinking it's just car and condition. As he goes wide, as does Phil. Both of them getting off in the sand without contact, and that's going to give Grandpa Bubby 5-6 seconds here on Phil as Phil reacting to the traffic. Locked up his brakes, and TS falls behind him now. There's 8 seconds now. That might be just what Grandpa needs to pull out in the way. Gaps opening up on the field here. Ooh, Phil lost a spot there to Maverick. Let's get back on the chase cam here as we've obviously got action. That's Maverick who just took second in touring car away from Phil. And those two drivers from down under are about 6 seconds, 5 seconds behind Grandpa Bubby. They're battling for second in class. And we've got a similar look here where Progar's still trying to chase down Rita. Not a lot of power in as much as you'd expect in the LMP3 and touring cars. That's why they're a support series. So you really got to wait for you got to maintain your momentum. Wait for your opponent to make a mistake. That's really the key in these races. Progar running solid as you see a 128.9 on the last lap. The fastest car in the class, though, continues to be Warren in the wet. He ran a blistering 126.5. Let's get back on board with him or trackside with him and take a look at our timings. 125.6, the best lap here in the race from Warren by far. There's only a couple of other cars that have hit the 126, and in touring car it looks like the 139.7 of Maverick is the fastest we've seen on the track. As Warren works his way through traffic with a 7-second lead. There's Grandpa working his way through, staying on board with Warren. Running here in the support race. One of the races he is, I know personally as his teammate from having talked to him, he really wants to win, is the Brickyard Grand Prix. Big Camel GT race here. He's finished second a couple times, third a couple times, never been able to win it. He'll be running it in the GTE class this season. .129.7 had some trouble on that lap, as the puddling is starting to get very, very thick down there at the end of the front stretch, as you can see. So despite a healthy lead, these guys are a little spread out here. This track is not as much as some of the others on the SCL circuit, known for ultra close racing here on this course, but one mistake and these guys are right back on top of it. Give some airtime to the guy who joined us in the booth in last night's preseason special broadcast, Aaron CW of AMG, as he works his way through with the prototype. 17 seconds off the lead. He's got about 6 seconds either way from third and fifth, so he's comfortably in for a fourth place finish if he can hang on to it. And Muttley, expected a little more out of Muttley in the wet, but running fifth in class. Muttley entering his fourth season. Another driver looking forward to next week's SCL 25 opener, the Bathurst 500. He's an Aussie. He's much quicker at that track than he is anywhere else, and considers himself a dark horse contender for a win, and definitely a contender for a podium or a top 5 there at that venerable race, the Great Race as they call it in Australia. There's the vet one shoe working his way through. He's got 26 seconds as the rookie Rob Disco grinded out, was running very well earlier, obviously having some trouble in the wet. Let's take a look at his speedo. Just the ABS on. He does not have the traction control or stability. That might be part of his problem getting the power back on, but he's running at the tail of the class right there. Down the front stretch again. Close battle on the track. Let's get on to the chase cam as CM Outcast, fourth season driver, chasing the rookie Evil OGR in front of him there. They got about a second and a half between them. Outcast in the Megane, and Outlaw is in the Mercedes, I believe. 5 minutes to go here in the GrandAm Touring Series preseason special. Warren taking the lead at about 21 minutes remaining from Rita in LMP3 and has led ever since. Grandpa Bubby has led since the early going with some shuffling behind him, but we've got a little bit of the gap cut down as there's Maverick, and it appears that Grandpa's caught in traffic. You can see his yellow car right ahead of him, and there's just about that gap between them. As we're on board with Maverick, another rookie driver from down under, hoping he sticks around. He's in the BMW, very promising driver. Trying to get that car to turn where there's very little braking. Or I'm sorry, very little grip for the braking as you're coming in there to in the wet here. As I said, weather's been a factor all week through preseason testing. You close it in and then dropping it back through the technicals, you might have a little muscle for him. Meanwhile, back here where the battle looks like Outcast got by Evil OGR. CM and Evil OGR back on it here, battling for fifth in the touring car class. And he appears to have the speed on him here through the technicals. The question is, where can you make the pass? As he is basically right on top of CM Outcast right here. Pair of free agents on the market right now, looking to impress. So you get right on top of somebody, then you get into one of these braking zones where the puddles have formed, and as you can see, he's just fighting that car without any traction control stability. Whereas I'm sure CM Outcast has it. Does have traction control. Meanwhile, battle for the lead is back upon us. There's Grandpa Bubby in the yellow. Maverick is right on top of him with 2 minutes to go. Stay with the chase cam, giving us the best view on the track, in my opinion, as Maverick tries to catch Grandpa Bubby with the GrandAm Touring Series touring car class win on the line. Trying to decide where to push here. Less than 2 minutes to go. Can't be more than a couple laps remaining, maybe only one. Matter of fact, it will more than likely, depending on where Warren is, who's probably well through the infield, it might be a white flag lap. I try to go to the inside, but that's where the puddling is. Grandpa catches a little bit of rumble strip. Oh, contact. And around goes Maverick. As there was contact, he may have forced the issue a little bit there, where there wasn't room for him. Not quite sure he was going to get by on the right-hand side without hitting the grass. I don't think that was an intentional contact by any means. And Grandpa Bubby hit him, but a little ambitious there on the inside, but he made his move to try to go for the win, and it's going to end up falling just back. He's about 3.5 seconds back now as Bubby is slowing it down. Bubby feels it was his fault and has decided to give the position back. So sportsmanlike move, but I don't think that was necessarily called for. Maverick was a little bit aggressive in there, but that's going to put him out front. Meanwhile, we get back to our leader, who it is. We're taking the white flag lap now this time. Warren with a sizable lead right there. No other serious battles for position other than the one right here. Maverick has now taken the lead. Grandpa Bubby's trailing him, trying to let the prototype through. And let's get back on the chase with Grandpa Bubby now, who's trying to chase down Maverick. They're going to be taking the white flag here this time by. They said Grandpa with a very sportsmanlike move by giving the spot back, but I don't think he necessarily was at fault there. There wasn't really a car width for Maverick to go. It was not a bad move. He was gonna try it, but definitely initiated some contact. I don't think it was Bubby's fault. So he definitely wasn't responsible to slow down there, in my opinion, but he did, and now he's got one lap to try to run him down. As we check on our leader, as he's coming through, well, once again, a week of success at the Brickyard for Warren Kyle Keith, as he's going to come home with the victory in the GrandAm Touring Series preseason special at Indianapolis. Meanwhile, let's get back to our best battle on the track here. Going to go with the chase cam on Grandpa as he's trying on this final lap to get close enough to Maverick to make a choice. For Maverick, this would be his first win of any kind in SCL competition. Grandpa trailing by about just over a second. What happens through these braking zones is going to be the key here. Phil Doubt back in third in class is not that far behind. And this is his last shot as he gets rammed by Phil Doubt, who locked up the brakes there in the corner and appeared to send Grandpa Bubby around. They're going to drag race it, but Maverick's going to hold on to it. It's going to be a drag race down the front stretch for second place. And it looks like Grandpa's going to hold on to it, but it's Maverick who takes home the victory in the class. So there are your final results here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Overall winner once again, WKK with a fantastic run. In LMP3, Rita in second, Progar a solid run to third, Aaron in fourth, and Muttley rounding out the top five, One Shoe and Disco rounding out the field there. In the touring car class with his first win, Maverick 91 with a terrific run. It's Phil Doubt coming home in second, Grandpa Bubby third. Flat Out brings it home in fourth, and CM Outcast fifth with OGR and TS24 fan rounding it up. That's going to wrap it up for this broadcast, guys. We have got bump qualifying and then the Camel GT race coming up shortly, and we'll be right back with you soon on the SCL Racing Network. Thanks for joining us.